What is the ocean? Well, the ocean is a large body of salt water that covers a portion of the Earth's surface. The oceans cover about 71% of the Earth's surface. They contain 97% of the Earth's water. 2 to 3% of that water is contained in glaciers and ice caps. The oceans contain a total of 99% of the living space on the planet. There are 5 main oceans on Earth. They include the Pacific Ocean, which is the largest of them all, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Southern Ocean, and Arctic Ocean. The Pacific Ocean extends from the west coast of South America to the east coast of Asia. The Atlantic Ocean is centered between the east coast of the U.S. and the west coast of Africa. The Indian Ocean is bordered by Africa, Australia, and Southern Asia. The Southern Ocean sits on top of Antarctica. The Arctic Ocean is near, you guessed it, the Arctic. There are 3 main zones in the ocean waters. The zones are classified by depth and the amount of sunlight that reaches the water. The 3 zones are Euphotic, or sunlight zone, Bathyal, or midnight zone, and the Abyssal Zone. The Euphotic, or sunlight zone, receives the most amount of sunlight of the 3 zones. Because of this, lots of different marine animals can live here, and marine plants can grow here. Some of the animals are fish, sharks, manta rays, jellyfish, seals, sea turtles, coral, whales, and plankton. The Bathyal, or midnight zone, does not receive much sunlight, if any. Because of this, plants cannot grow here, and there are far fewer marine animals that live here. The ones that can survive here usually rely on large eyes to see prey and predators, and they sometimes rely on bioluminescence, or a glowing body, to attract mates and ward off predators. Animals that live in the midnight zone must be able to survive close to freezing temperatures. Some of the animals that live here are squid, anglerfish, brittle star, and snake dragonfish. The Abyssal Zone is the deepest and darkest of all 3 zones. Absolutely no sunlight reaches this depth. Animals that live here are some of the weirdest creatures on Earth. They rely on bioluminescence and food particles that float down from the upper zones to survive. Some animals that live in the Abyssal Zone are the tripod fish, black swallower, tube worm, giant squid, and shipworm. The food web of the ocean is an example of the relationship marine animals have with each other. Also known as the food chain, the web begins with tiny one-celled organisms called diatoms and ends with the largest animals such as sharks and whales. Diatoms make their own food from the sunlight through a process known as photosynthesis. These small creatures, along with plants that grow in the ocean, are the basis of the oceanic food chain. Shrimp-like creatures called zooplankton and crustaceans, such as crabs, eat the diatoms. The zooplankton and crustaceans are eaten by fish or other large animals. The highest member of the oceanic food chain is the killer whale. This sea mammal has virtually no predators. When the killer whales die, their body feeds some of the tiniest sea creatures, and the cycle continues. Another interesting and important fact about the ocean is its tides. A tide is the alternate rising and falling of the ocean. This phenomenon usually happens twice in each lunar day. The rise and fall of the tides plays an important role in the natural world. Tides are one of the most reliable phenomena in the world. As the sun rises in the east and the stars come out at night, we are confident that the ocean waters will regularly rise and fall along our shore. Tides are very long-period waves that move through the oceans in response to the forces exerted by the moon and the sun. Tides originate in the oceans and progress towards the coastlines, where they appear as the regular rise and fall of the sea surface. When the highest part, or crest, of the wave reaches a particular location, high tide occurs. Low tide corresponds to the lowest part of the wave, or its trough. The difference in the height between high tide and low tide is called the tidal range. Let's review what we have learned. The ocean is a very large body of salt water that covers much of the earth. There are 5 main oceans on earth, including the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, and Arctic oceans. There are 3 main zones in the ocean. These are the euphotic, or sunlight zone, Bathyal, or midnight zone, and the Abyssal Zone. The animals of the ocean are all part of a food chain, or food web, and rely on this relationship for survival. Tides are the rising and falling of the ocean waters caused by the gravitational pull of the sun and moon. Tides usually occur twice a day. Well, I hope you had fun learning about the ocean. Thanks for watching.